Hey everybody, this is Valor again here with another build guide video for Oblivion. This time I wanted to show you my take on how to build a Nightblade class. And my Nightblade class is a little bit different in that it combines magic, bow, and sword and shield, or mostly just dagger, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm here at the end of the sewers where I can kind of just show you. I went, I th I think the best classes for sure with this one would be either Wood Elf or Dark Elf, because we're going to be leaning really heavily into agility, agility and magic. And this is going to be a little bit up to you on whether you want to lean more into like using the bow and stealth, or if you want to lean more into magic. So the Dark Elf is going to have a little bit better stats in the magic with a little bit boost to his destruction and conjuration, whereas the Wood Elf is going to have a little bit bigger boost to his alchemy and his marksman, which is the bow. But either one will work. I went Dark Elf just because I like leaning more into the magic side of things, as well as the Dark Elf gets a 75% resistance to fire, which in this game a lot of enemies use fire, so that's kind of like an extra little perk towards the Dark Elf. Plus, for role-playing reasons, I just think the Dark Elf makes the perfect kind of assassin, Nightblade kind of character. Breton would be another one that you could go just because simply the Breton gets a really high boost to intelligence and willpower, which gives him just, amazing magic, right? As well as this 50% bonus to your magicka. So Breton is hands down the best magic class in the game, as well as being resistant to all different types of magic. So Breton's always good, but I use the Breton a lot in other builds, so it's kind of nice for role-playing reasons to go with something different. I think Dark Elf is it. I would definitely pick this origin, the Vardenfell, simply because I don't think personality is a very useful stat. It doesn't really affect your combat prowess much, and because we will be going light armor, the extra endurance is really nice. So definitely go Vardenfell. So as far as birth sign, I feel like there's just one clear winner. It's going to be Thief. And the reason for that is because agility is our primary stat for our weapons. It's going to affect our short swords, daggers, and bows. And so I like to lean as a Nightblade / assassin. I actually like to lean heavily into the melee stealth playstyle. But because agility also affects the bow, this actually gives us the freedom to use both bow and dagger in our combat really effectively. And it's just a really fun playstyle to be able to sneak around and just do a lot of stealth kills with both blade and bow. Luck is one of the hardest stats to raise. It affects everything, and it's a very powerful stat. Speed is just really nice because it's just nice to move around fast. We're going to have light armor. We're going to move fast. And this will be kind of a secondary stat that we boost anyways. And again, like I said in my Paladin video, this is the only sign that gives you more than 20 points. So you're just getting a lot of bang for your buck. Easily probably the strongest sign in the game. And since it affects every stat that we want, I'm 100% going Thief. However, you can do as you like. I feel like some of these other ones work. Shadow is kind of would be fun early just because it's going to be a little bit later till we get an illusion spell that allows us to go invisible. So earlier on it'd be useful, but the thing I hate about these powers is that they're only once a day. So you're having to rest. Every time you use it, you have to rest again. So one use just feels kind of like a slap in the face for a lot of these things. So yeah, 100% Thief for me. I feel like that's the best way to go. And as far as class, as you know, we go custom class. For me, I would choose between stealth or magic. And the reason I'm going magic is just because I feel like magic is a little bit harder to upgrade. So just getting a little bit of a boost to not only the starting level of my spells, but also how fast they level up. But you're free to go stealth as well, because as you'll see in our skills, we're taking a lot of magic, and stealth skills. So this is going to be up to you, but we're not taking a whole lot in combat, so I would definitely choose one of these as my specialization. For our attributes, I went luck, and luck's probably the main one I would choose for two reasons. One, I just want to boost it because I'm already getting the plus 10 from the thief. Luck is one of those weird stats where it just kind of affects everything, and it's actually pretty effective. So it's a good stat to have, and it's hard to raise. So I think if you take this, you're getting a nice chunky plus 15 to your starting luck stat. And that's just a nice little boost, and then allows us to use all our level ups, especially earlier on just like the stats that will affect our combat more. And so for our combat, the main stats are definitely going to be agility, because this is going to affect both our daggers and our bows. So it gives you the freedom to kind of lean more into whether you want to go melee or range. It does it both. It gives you freedom to play the way you want to play and be effective, as well as increasing our maximum fatigue and fatigue regeneration. Just something that's really important. Fatigue's really important. So agility is great. However, as far as our plus 5 bonus, I'm actually going to go willpower, and the reason for that is because if you start wood elf or dark elf, willpower is one of the lower stats. It's at 35. And this is an important stat that we definitely want, because we will be using lots of spells. So this just kind of gives it that little boost since it's lagging behind. However, when we level up, we will be prioritizing agility, intelligence, and willpower as our primary stats. And then as secondary stats, you're going to want a little bit of speed and endurance. Speed's just a nice quality of life. Endurance, because we're wearing light armor, and we're not the tankiest, right? So a little bit of endurance here and there will be good. However, because we're going to be playing stealth as much as we can and using summons and stuff to, manipulate, endurance is definitely like kind of low on the priority. So I'd say definitely these three are where we want to go. But again, I'm starting willpower. For skills, I go blade because I really like to lean heavily into the melee playstyle more so than the ranged playstyle. But if you already know, like, you're going to play an assassin and you're just going to go around and be the, classic stealth archer, then you don't have to take this. I just take it because I really enjoy blade. And if you boost this along with your agility, your daggers and short swords will be hitting pretty hard. And daggers get the biggest stealth bonus. So I love this playstyle of sneaking around and just stabbing things in the back. I think it's the perfect kind of fun spellblade / Nightblade assassin kind of playstyle that I enjoy. So I go blade, and that's the only combat one we're taking because nothing else in here really will benefit us with the way we play. In the magic tree, the most important ones I think are illusion and conjuration. Illusion, because this just really leans heavily into like our ability to manipulate people, charm them, anger them, put them in rage, paralyze them, and eventually the invisibility, which to me is like that's the most important spell as Assassin Nightblade. Being able to go invisible, sneak around, get those backstabs with your dagger. It's an incredibly fun playstyle, and so illusion is the most important. Conjuration is cool too, because since we are using bows and we are a more like not as tanky, conjuration is just really nice because it provides a little distraction where gives you some breathing room. So I definitely like that as well. Destruction, just because it leans, I think it works pretty well with this kind of playstyle of a Nightblade / assassin, just being able to shoot out some powerful spells here and there. But this one's up to you as well. This isn't exactly like a little bit of an option, but illusion I think is like the most important one for this playstyle. Illusion and conjuration. Over here, this is where we're getting a lot of our mileage for the playstyle. Light armor, because we definitely want to pick one of the armors, and we'll be using light armor for not only the mobility, but also the reduction in noise as we're sneaking. And that's really important because we're going for a stealth playstyle as a Nightblade assassin. Sneak, obviously, because we want this boosting up as fast as possible. We want this to get up just so we can sneak around and not get detected. Again, I skip these typically just because I don't feel like they have a huge impact on the gameplay and they're not very necessary. So this is pretty much what mine looks like. Again, with all these builds, there's a little bit of flexibility depending on what you want to go for. And I choose marksman as well because even though I am going blade, they're both, it's nice to have range abilities, right? And these both get really big multipliers from the sneak skill. So it's really cool to be able to level one stat, agility, and it affect both our blade weapons and our bow. It's kind of a cool change that they made in this version, in the update. So I go ahead and name it my Nightblade, or if you want to name it Assassin, whatever fits your fancy. And here we go. We got our magic specialization with our willpower and luck as our starting favorite attributes. And these are the major skills that we'll be using. And I'm going to go ahead and just show you some early gameplay and how it kind of plays. Yeah, this is to me one of the most fun ways to play the game. I know Stealth Archer is easily one of the most popular playstyles in these Elder Scrolls games, and I feel like it worked really well in this because of the way that the stats work. Being able to go both daggers and bows just makes it a really effective way to level. So as we are a stealthy, sneaky assassin, this is how we are going to be playing most of the time. Always trying to get the drop on enemies. Sneak up here. Boom. 8 times damage. This is why I love the daggers. Watch out for the pressure plate. Now early on, because our sneak stat is not the highest, we will get detected, and that's where a lot of our magic comes into play. So right now we're in the dark, and we don't make a lot of noise with our gear, so we're doing pretty good. But as you'll see, as I come up to some of these enemies up here, they're gonna see me pretty easily, just because my stealth stat, the sneak stat, is not leveled up quite enough. But that'll get better over time as we get to the illusion tree. We'll be able to use stealth. See, he saw me over there, so this is where, like, okay, we're going into combat now. I get my skeleton out.
Show me what you've got.
So something that's pretty cool is that stealth, is that the calm ability. As long as they're leveled up enough, it'll make them not aggro to you. So sometimes you can kind of get behind them, but it looks like he's kind of just like not making it easy for me right now. But sometimes you can get a little backstab on them while they're calm. I'm making a lot of noise killing these guys. Let's see if I can get some range attacks on these guys. Boom. Sniped. So as you can see, both my bow and my dagger are just doing a lot of damage. Also, here's a little trick that if you haven't seen before, is with a lot of these pins, if you just keep holding up, and then as you're pulling the little lockpick up, you press the button, you can pretty much always guarantee that you never break a pick. It's one of those little tips, a little trick that's like a way to cheese locks. It's another reason why I think the lockpicking skill is absolutely useless, because it's just such an easy way to cheese the mini game. It's really easy to just always perfectly get those lockpicks. So I'll show you a few more stealth skills, but this is more or less the playstyle. You know, we're moving around. Here's another guy. See if I can get a little backstabby on him. Boom, just like that. being the little degenerate that I am. Here we are. Let's see if this guy even notices. So you do have to aim a little bit higher. And something that they added, so the arrow drops pretty quickly. So you have to actually aim above enemies quite a bit in this. Get him, Skelly. Nice. Good boy. So honestly, this is a very fun playstyle. There's a lot of variety in here. We're getting to use spells. We're getting to sneak around. Also, I really enjoy how they did the animations for both the daggers and the short swords. Both feel really good. Now, there is kind of a catch-22 with this. Any long sword you find is not going to deal as much damage because we're not leveling our strength. However, 40 is not bad. I wouldn't put more points into this. As you level up, whenever you sleep, I would be pumping everything into agility, willpower, intelligence, just because we want to cast spells, and agility is going to scale the damage of our bow as well as our dagger. However, there's a lot of really good long swords, and since we are leveling our blade skill, right? This is a favored skill, and this will level up as we fight with it. Even the long swords, even though they scale with strength and blade, and we're leveling agility and blade, long swords will still do pretty good damage. So I'm not going to say you can't use them. Just know that we're not leaning into a stat that affects long swords. So it's kind of one of the weird things in a way. Like, it's nice that agility affects short swords and daggers, but in a way, the blade skill is kind of split now between two different stats. And it can make it a little bit awkward when you're just finding, like, you find this amazing longsword, but it's like, oh shoot, well, I have high agility. But again, this game isn't so restrictive that it really matters a ton. You're welcome to use it, just know that it's going to be doing a little bit less damage. Come on, Skelly, help out. What are you doing just standing there, you little punk? Soothing Touch is an interesting one. Later on, obviously, we want to get something that affects it better. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this build. It's a really fun playstyle, and I encourage you to do it. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave some in the comments. And thank you so much for watching.